Bob.
And Josh.
And I like to make stuff, and today we're going to turn these into these. Today we're going to do something that we've talked about doing back and forth for a long time, and actually Josh has done before. We're going to make guitars, but we're making two totally different kinds. We're going to go about it two totally different ways. So we'll get into the specifics. What are you going to be doing?
I'm going to make a bass guitar.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
You said make it quick. I'm going to make a 5-string bass guitar, and I'm going to primarily make mine on the CNC because I've done all of this work in Fusion 360. I've designed it, I know exactly what I want, and I'm going to bite off more than I can chew.
And he's going to be doing the neck, the fretboard, the body, all of it. I'm going to be doing just the body, but I'm going to do a semi-hollow body guitar, so it's got some pockets on the inside of it, and I have no clue what I'm doing. I have no experience here whatsoever. We're both going to be using the same material. The three of us, with Anthony, bought a giant pile of cherry, and it's rough sawn, it needs a lot of work, but we're going to first mill up some pieces and make some blanks, and then we'll talk about the specifics of our guitars.
Like Bob said, we're going to be using the rough sawn cherry this time instead of the walnut that we used last time, but we're still going to use the jointer, the planer, and the table saw to mill it up to the right pieces that we need.
And all that stuff is covered in a bits video, so if you haven't seen that, be sure to go check it out. Let's get to it.
Yeah!
There's a guitar called a Fender Starcaster that was out, I think, in the 70s, and they didn't run for very long. I've always thought they were really cool, but I've never actually had access to play one, or I've never even seen one up close. They have reissued them since then, but I still want to make my own. There's two big things about this guitar in particular that are going to be difficult for me personally. It's a semi-hollow body, so basically these two sections are hollow on the inside, and it's an arch top. So the top of the guitar is not flat, it's got kind of a hump that comes up in the middle where all the pickups are. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that, and I'm going to do my best not to use the CNC. I am going to use the laser though. So what I did here is I took an image from straight on of the guitar and I just traced the outer profile, and I'm going to use that as my profile guide. And then I offset that in a little bit, so I've got a couple of different stair steps. I'm going to use those as templates to be able to route down steps in the top of the guitar, and then I can smooth them out and make them a nice transition.
So this is the bass that I designed in Fusion 360. This is actually the second bass that I'm going to be making. Like Bob, I designed a body for one previously, and I used an aftermarket neck and electronics. This time I'm challenging myself to do the entire thing. So I have designed the body, the fretboard, and the neck. So I'm going to be using the CNC and Fusion 360's manufacturing cut paths to do all of these digitally. I needed a lot of help designing my bass from scratch because I'd never done it before. I found a website called StuMac.com that offers a whole lot of guitar making products. They have specific dimensions for the frets that I need, the channel for the truss rod, the bridge specifications. There's so much good information on StuMac besides just the products that they have. If you're interested in making your own guitar or bass, you can make one from a kit that they have. You can get all the different components or tools. Definitely check out StuMac.com. They are amazing. Now I have two bass bodies glued up right now as an insurance policy because I'm fairly confident in my ability to run the CNC job that I've created, but just in case it screws up, I don't want it to be the end of the world, so I have a backup. I also have a backup neck blank. I have this piece of cherry that's kind of boogered up at the top. I think I can get what I need out of it, but in case I can't, I have this piece of maple as well.
This looks like a really weird piece, I get that, but this is the top of 3 templates that are going to be stacked up, and I've cut this kind of keyway in the middle so that they can all line up. So basically what I'm going to do is get these 3 stair steps, use those as routing templates to cut in levels, and then I'll smooth out those levels, and that will give me the arch top. Now, I do want to acknowledge something. I have never made a guitar before. I know there are lots of fantastic channels like Crimson Guitars, Tim Sway does a bunch. There's a bunch of instructional stuff out there, so you don't necessarily have to tell me about it after the fact in the comments. But if you are looking for exactly how to make a guitar from somebody who knows what they're doing, you definitely want to check those out. We'll put links down in the description. These are the pieces that actually came out of this piece. And to keep all of the templates aligned, once I get my blank made up, I'm going to actually glue these pieces to the blank like that. And then I can lift the templates on and off of that little cross shape, and that will keep them all concentric in the same place.
I'm scared to do this. I ain't gonna lie. But we have another one. That's a big bit. Oh, stop, hold on. I have to turn on the spindle.
This video is sponsored by Cove Audio. I'm really excited about that because they've got some fantastic Bluetooth headphones that I've been wearing a lot lately. I really enjoy them. They also have a fantastic Bluetooth speaker called the Commuter. Now this is a really great sounding speaker. It's better than all the other ones I've ever owned. And one of the coolest things about it is that it sounds good like this, but you can also split it in half and actually put these in different parts of your room and you get a much wider stereo field of audio. Not only that, but each one of these has a subwoofer on it. And so you get great bass out of something this size. A single charge will get you 8 hours of audio, and you can take this thing anywhere. It'll fit in a cup holder, it fits in that part of your backpack where a water bottle goes. I know it's hard to hear what these sound like over a microphone and speakers and all that stuff, but trust me, listen to this. Tons of bass out of that tiny little subwoofer. They sound fantastic, trust me. These are absolutely worth the money, and that discount code is pretty ridiculous, 67% off of the total cost of these. Be sure to go to coveaudio.com/ILTMS, use the code ILTMS, and get 67% off. Go check them out.
I'm making my backup neck. So this is the one that we cut earlier. Right where I would play is where it's gross. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the rest of it, both sides, on the maple neck.
Gonna hold this here for a while. Should fall asleep with my head on these pieces, holding them down.
Then you do the next talking point with one stuck to your forehead.
I've got the main keys glued down to this thing, so now all of my templates. Here, Josh, come over here. I want to show you this. I made a key that's glued on here, and that same key is cut out of all the different template pieces. So theoretically, I should be able to lock all of these in the same place on the center.
Clever.
And my center line for the guitar is going to be flat here, and all the curves will go away from that.
Right.
So we got that one to cut out the main outer. We got this as
looks like a garlic bulb.
as the first step up. Should go right there, and then oh yeah. So this one will be the actual flat.
Yeah.
That should be a flat surface, and then this one I cut last night for the neck routing template. So this should all line up, you know, if they're on the keys correctly. I should be able to use a router and cut out the pocket for a Strat neck. I didn't talk about this, but I'm going to be using a pre-existing Strat neck, and in the future that can be something that I can rebuild from scratch, make my own neck, but still have the same pocket as a Strat. So my face stuff is ready to start routing, but my body piece is still way too thick.
Yeah.
And you had an idea for that.
I do, because I'm using the CNC, we have a massive 3-inch surfacing bit. Now, rather than putting those through the jointer and the planer, neither of them can take that size of chunk of wood. I can put yours, and I can take the two of mine on the CNC, and I can thickness plane them with this massive bit.
Yeah.
So even though you are using traditional tools, I will come in and kind of take yours off on a little field trip to the CNC. But this is super clever. And it's really fortunate that the Stratocaster has a lot of information online to be able and use.
Yeah. I actually found a website last night, and I'll put a link to it in the description, but it had vector templates for everything about the Stratocaster. The outline, the pockets, all of the electronics pockets and measurements. So if you just want to use the measurements to make your own, you can, or you can use those vectors to cut out templates to make your own Strat. They had a bunch of different guitars as well. Let's go over and get those pieces on the CNC to make them thinner, and I will start routing.
Yeah.
It's looking good, but what's the problem at this point?
So the problem is that I made a silly mistake, and I can visualize it with this previous one. I didn't want to waste a bunch of time, so I carved just around the profile on the underside. This is exactly the same. So right now, these walls are holding up the neck from the spoil board. So now I'm carving this side, which looks great. But as you can see right here, this is the amount of material that is holding this whole thing in place, is this much overlap. So if I do the smoothing pass over here, which I plan on doing, and then a final contour to cut the whole thing out, if I do this contour, hopefully this material up here will be okay, but if I do the contour, the whole thing is going to like collapse because there's nothing underneath it.
I would take something that's this thickness and slide it through there so you've got something down, and then don't do that contour. Do the smoothing pass, and then come back with an X-Acto knife and cut through that.
And that's what I was thinking, that I could do the contour, hoping that the heel and the head will still have this amount of material, which seems to be working okay. And then I can like come back and cut that out on the bandsaw and then smooth it with some sandpaper.
So just do the contour.
Just do the contour.
On here.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, that'd be good.
What do you think?
Tell us in the comments. It'll be way too late, but tell us in the comments.
Tell me in the comments.
I've got the stair steps on, and I think this is the right way to go, although I've never really done this, and I'm kind of thinking through it as I go. But the idea is that this top center section that I drew out is going to be the flat part. Now I need to kind of smooth from this edge down to this edge, so I'm going to have to come up with some way to knock off these corners and then start to kind of transition from here all the way down to here. And I think I'm going to do that with a combination of chisels, sandpaper, maybe a hand plane, although it's kind of curvy. I don't really know. Let's figure it out. Okay, so I thought maybe the belt sander was the way to do this, or it was going to be a whole lot of like knocking off the edges, but this turbo plane, which can be put on any angle grinder, is awesome for this.
So this is amazing.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So the material held here and held there, but I didn't do this right, but I was rewarded by it not being ruined. So I'm going to take some sandpaper to this, and I'm going to smooth it out. But the truss rod just came in. Let's see if it actually fits. So this is the rod that you would put an Allen key in here and you would turn it, and the top one would tighten and it would force this to bow opposite the string tension. So this theoretically is supposed to fit down in here, maybe. Is it tight? It's supposed to be tight. Yeah, it totally fits in there. This is awesome.
I'm absolutely loving how the
Got him! Whoopsies.
I'm absolutely loving how the contour is turning out, and I still have some more work to do, but it's a lot easier to do with the sander once you get the turbo plane to actually get the nice curve. Now, one of the cool things about having this key on here is as I'm thinking of other things that I need to do, I can make new templates to drop on. In fact, I realized that I didn't have a way to have the sound holes cut in here and accurately placed, so I went over my drawing in Illustrator, created those, and made a template, and they drop right on here. So I'm going to trace these out since this is a contoured surface, and then go to the, what's that saw called?
Cutty one.
The cutty saw, the little tiny scroll saw. Then I'm going to go to the scroll saw and cut them out.
Cutting the cutters.
I got the neck all sanded. It did not take a lot of work because of the...
Sorry.
It's not sorry. So the smoothing pass really helped, but a little bit of sandpaper went a long way. This is 80 grit and it feels pretty amazing to play. But this is pretty awesome. I was super scared to do this, and look, it's like it's right here. Bob.
You have a neck.
I have a neck.
I have a neck.
But the holes are not all the way through. because I'm not sure what size tuning machines I'm gonna get. I think they're 3/8, so I just made little marky marks so that I can drill through them with a drilly drill.
Make some holy holes. I realized that cutting those holes would actually be a lot easier if there was less material, and since I'm going to be hollowing out some of the inside of this surface anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and it should make it a little bit easier to use on the scroll saw.
What is that? Because I selected this pocket, and I bet I didn't change it from outside of the lines to inside of the lines.
The front of my guitar is done to a point. Obviously there's a ton more sanding to do. I've got to drill all these holes here, and the big thing is I have to cut the pocket for the neck to go in. But I want to do that until I've actually got the entire body together. So now that I've got the back part kind of rough cut out, I want to join this and the back section temporarily so that I can cut the profile to match this all the way around, get the two pieces matched up, and I've got a cool idea of how to do that so that I can take them apart and put them back together before I do the final glue up. This is probably not absolutely necessary, but I want to join these with dowels, so I'm going to drill a hole like right there and then maybe two down here. Then I'm going to use my dowel centers to transfer those holes onto the back of this piece, onto the inside, and then drill matching holes. That way I can put a dowel in here, and it will give me some keys to be able to lock these two pieces together, just so as I continue to work on them, I don't have to glue up before I'm ready.
Check it out. This bit is for milling PCBs and like processing boards, but it can also cut frets if you go slow enough.
How many did you break?
3. It's a magic number.
We both kind of ran into some issues. My issue is that I was super happy with this thing. It was going great, and I got in a hurry, and I put this template on backwards, so even though these sound holes are supposed to be offset, I made them offset in the wrong direction. So this one should be up here, this one should be down there, and even though it won't actually affect anything, I just didn't want to look at this guitar for the rest of my life and be disappointed. So I started over.
Which
What about you?
That's super unfortunate because you were doing a killer job.
I'm really happy with it, other than that.
Yeah, other than it's wool wrong.
It is what wrong.
Well, mine is wool wrong too. So this is the overall shape. The scallops are there, the shape is there, but when I went to cut the neck pocket, mine was a little tiny error that I didn't click a radial button, and it carved a much larger neck pocket, so this neck pocket is wrong. So instead of just thickening up the neck, I went ahead and made an entirely new blank.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cut this on the CNC and pretty much start over.
And this is my other guitar face, I guess. Looks pretty much identical, except for these holes are in the right place. And I realized after I got all this work done that this section of wood was a lot lighter than the other ones. So unfortunately, it's not gonna match across as well as the other one did, but you know, whatever, it's still gonna look nice. I also was able to experiment on the busted one with making the neck pocket, which is a good thing because I found that the neck pocket is actually slightly the wrong shape. So I was able to figure that out on the one that I wasn't going to use anyway, so that when I cut this one, it will fit perfectly for the Strat neck that I bought. So we're good to go, and I'm ready to put this on the other part of the body.
One thing I really like about our mess ups is that we were able to continue to learn. Like you checked the neck pocket, I checked the electronics pocket. So this is where all the electronics are gonna go. I have a separate 3D printed cup that I have attached all the potentiometers and the preamp and all this stuff. I can go ahead and wire up in the pocket and then just drop the pocket in place. And this is where the 9-volt batteries are gonna go. So I checked to make sure that my dimensions, that everything else is right, and it is, but the whole thing is wrong.
I did want to point out, one more time, neither one of us make guitars. We don't necessarily know what we're doing, but we're learning about this. And so we're not trying to tell you exactly the right way to do it. We're showing the process of us learning how to do these two different things. And I think now we're at a good point where we can move on and start getting them ready to glue up and turn into actual playable things.
Yeah. In this entire process of me making my own bass, this is the 5th blank that I have made. I know on camera so far I've made 2 other ones. The second one was kind of janky wood, so I didn't use it. So I went ahead and got some nicer pieces of wood, some nicer stripes. And although I really like this, and I really hope this is the one that's gonna work, if this messes up, that's okay. Go get some more wood and start over from a fresh, clean slate.
Yeah, it's just wood.
That's it.
All right, let's get back to it.
Yeah. Oh geez.
That's scary.
Oh geez. It's so scary.
I'm kind of roughing out the area that needs to be solid down the middle, and so I know what areas on the sides I can cut out for the semi-hollow body.
What was our band name?
Fret Level Midnight.
Fret Level Midnight. we could do the dance.
That's a cool shot on the side. Cool, win the stripes.
Oh no!
Were you getting that?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
All right, the tape came loose.
All right, lift it up. No, I think it's okay, actually. As long as you can get it back to where it was.
Or I can just use a bandsaw and a flush trim. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Bang, 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 bang.
Dude, that looks legit.
Goodness gracious.
Good job.
It's getting more nerve-wracking every time I touch it.
Yep. So the center line, cool stripes that I made are off, which is not terrible. But the contour pass, screwed up, as you saw. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna paint the top anyway, because I'm gonna paint it. Because I'm gonna paint stuff. I'm gonna paint all that nice hardwood. You won't ever see it.
All right, so you salvaged the body.
Yeah.
It looks good. It looks really good.
My OCD is being triggered because if this were all just one piece, you would not notice that.
Right.
But because I put cool stripes, now the stripes are off center. But the neck fits into the neck pocket. All of the pockets are where they're supposed to be. I still have to do some final kind of finish sanding, but this is ready to go.
Awesome. I've got the hole cut in the back of mine for the electronics to be able to access. I still have a lot of sanding to do, but I'm not going to finish all that until I get these two pieces put together, which I can't do until I get all of the pockets for the pickups and all that type of stuff. I have a lot left to do, but I think this is a pretty good place to stop this particular video because this thing would get really, really long. So, let us know your thoughts about our guitars and our process so far. Again, knowing that we are not professionals, we're trying to figure this out. If you've got some other guitar resources that you think may help us or other people, leave them down in the comments. We can all learn together. We've got tons of other types of projects that you may want to check out, and we'll be back next week to finish up these builds. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Where I showed you how to use the joiner, the planer, and the table saw to do it.
No. Thing, we've got lots of other videos that you may want to check out.
Bye.
See ya. I forgot what the thing is.